The greatest source of your paranoia should be knowledge. If someone else knows more than you do, and if you're not learning, if you don't know, if you don't know how to learn, if you don't have a thirst for learning and acquiring information, you're SOL. If you put two people both following the same formula, both in the same industry, right? Which one wins? Maybe they both can win and both be successful, but so I don't think there's a default template for success, but I think there's things that you can do to put yourself in the best position to succeed.
I mean, my dad busted his ass. I mean, he worked six days a week, left at 7:30 in the morning, got back at 6 or 7 o'clock, lost his eye in an accident doing upholstery. He had a staple break when he was covering on a car seat. It was a middle class upbringing. My mom did odd jobs. They just wanted something better. I mean, my grandparents came over from Russia, and my dad was the first generation. My uncles were the first generation Americans, like my mom too. And like every child of immigrants, they wanted better for their kids. Everybody's got something that they're good at, and the hard part is just finding it. And I found out early that I was a good salesperson, that I really liked business. Like I like sports. I mean, I read everything I possibly could, played sports as much as I could, just wasn't as good as I wanted to be. And business was the same way. I mean, as long as I could remember, I was buying and selling baseball cards, garbage bags, whatever I could find, stamps to collectors. But I was also reading everything I possibly could about business. And I was that unusual kid that I'd rather read about Ted Turner than go to the movies. And so I think that created a foundation. And my parents, my dad used to always say, I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm glad you're doing it. And so I had my ups and downs along the way. I just think that I just put in the time and was fortunate enough to really get excited about business, and that paid off benefits over the long haul. If you're going to be great at something, you've got to make the effort to be great at something. Whether it's sports, whether it's physics, math, science, business, whatever it may be, it's not just a natural skill. You've got to learn. I was a bartender when I first came to Dallas, got into the PC industry, got fired, started my own company. But I learned early on that there was always something new, and most people didn't put in the time to learn it. It's like now with artificial intelligence. Lots of people talk about artificial intelligence. Lots of people talk about machine learning and neural networks. Not a lot of people are putting in the time to take classes or do the tutorials or to learn how to apply it to business.
Understanding what your skill set is, finding the right place to use those skills, and then going for it. Will that make you 250 grand? It depends if you pick the right industry. But whatever industry you pick, if you outwork everybody, if you try to be a little smarter than everybody, if you try to be a better salesperson than everybody, if you try to be better prepared than everybody, you've got your best chance.
I've just learned what I'm good at and learned to focus on those things and try to utilize those skills to now not just be an entrepreneur, but probably more often now invest in and help other entrepreneurs.
One of my favorite saying is, it doesn't matter how many times you fail, you just have to be right once. Then everybody can call you an overnight success. And I've failed a company that sold powdered milk. I've gotten fired. And all those were learning experiences. And kids who are graduating today, they ask about jobs and things they should do and everything. And I always like to tell them, whatever, you don't have to get the perfect job. When you're 22, 23, 24, there's no such thing as failure. Whatever job you take, you're getting paid to learn. And you just spend however many years paying to go to school, and you paid a lot of money, probably still owe money. Take that job. You're going to get paid to learn. And like if it was like my experience where I learned what not to do, and I was getting paid, it was still well worth it. I truly believe each and every one of us is really good at something, right? The hard part is finding out what that is and going through all the different, kissing all the frogs before you find the prince of the job, right? I think you have to try to and experience as many things as you can. And once you get there, then try to be as good as you can at it.
sometimes being young and trying things, you're so naive and you don't know any better. All you do is learn. And if you fail, it doesn't matter. And so whether I was 9, 10, 12, 16, 21, the failures were irrelevant. And, whether you're, 9, 12, 16, 21, 22, 24, I'm sleeping on the couch. I have a car with a hole in the floorboard. I'm living like a bum and like a student. And so what did I have to lose? And so I think that influenced me as much as anything. So, my dad was like, go for it. Why not? What have you got to lose? So I think that was motivation. You're so self-motivated that you can take an online course in accounting and teach yourself everything. You're way ahead of the game anyways, but most people aren't. And I'm not saying you have to go to Indiana. I'm not saying go to an expensive school. I don't care if you go to a community college and take accounting and spend $99 for the class. Just, spending the money forces you to be more obligated to do it. But accounting, finance, lesser extent marketing, sales, if the school offers that, these are all that's the language of business. And so while it's possible to teach yourself these things, and while it's possible to hire them, when you're starting your own company, you don't want to have to spend money hiring an accountant. The thing I learned at Indiana that was more important than anything else, I learned how to learn. And learning became far more important to me, because the one certainty in business is that it's always going to be changing. If you're not always learning, to this minute, if I'm not continuously learning, if I'm not just absorbing as much as I can absorb, someone else is going to kick my ass.